I think what you have to have is you've got to look at the lineup towards the end of the season, and you've got to figure out now, okay, well, now we have John Schneider for 3 years, and we know we're going to play. This is the style he wants to play. What can we do to complement that style, right? Who do you go out and get? I mean, I keep hearing rumors of the Blue Jays, and again, the Blue Jays are possibly all in on a trade for Ohtani. Okay. They were all in for Yu Darvish 5 or 10 years ago too, and it turned out they were $50 million below what the actual bid was. So you can say you're in, but are you really in? And if you're going to really pursue that trade, the hell are you going to give up? Like, what are they going to want? They're going to want Manoah, Kirk, maybe a couple of other pieces. I don't know. I mean, I really like Shohei Ohtani a lot, but I don't know whether you can. Are you gutting the team then? Are you happy with what you have as a core? I'm not married to Kirk. I love Kirk. I enjoy watching him play. I also think within 3 or 4 years he's going to have trouble with his knees. And is he going to continue to hit the way he does? Maybe. I mean, but he might end up just being a DH within 2 or 3 years, and then you have to decide whether if you can get something amazing for him right now. And I don't think you can. I don't think anybody else is going to overpay for Kirk right now, right?
Well, Schneider, let's get finishing off on Schneider. I think he did not get $8-9 million on that 3-year deal. So I don't know if he's making a couple 100,000, 500,000, whatever he's making. But what I'm saying is they're not breaking the bank on the manager wise. If they don't like him half a season into it, they can let him go, pay out that contract, and get whatever manager they want. It's funny. I remember back in the day when Babcock came to the Maple Leafs and they signed to that monster deal. Then you got to think about it, because you can't just let the guy go early on in the deal because you paid him millions of dollars. This is not the case whatsoever. Love Gibby. Gibby started up his own podcast. I think he's into episode 5 or 6 now. He's doing a great job with it, bringing a lot of great guys. He's really active on Twitter and social media. So he's really happy with his life. I could see him coming back, but I don't know if he wants to. I don't know if the Jays want him back for a 3rd time around. Look at the World Series going into right now. You got Dusty Baker versus Robbie Thompson, and it's amazing. You can say the other manager, doesn't make that much of a difference. Well, Houston kept chugging along with having an experienced hand there. Thompson, also being a baseball lifer, been around the Yankees forever. I think he has 5 rings from the Yankees, so that doesn't hurt as well, having that kind of experience. Don't know how many rings are on Schneider's fingers. Don't know how many rings were on Montoya's fingers, but having guys that have coached on, I don't care if they were the bench coach, the bullpen coach, the dugout coach, whatever. It makes a big difference when you've actually been around winning World Series teams with the management side of it. Now, flip into, if we agree that the managerial side isn't going to make or break a lot of teams, it's maybe not going to win you a World Series. The guys are the ones on the field that are going to have to win you those games. I think Toronto right now is in a state of delusion on sports talk radio. And they're talking about Shohei Ohtani and how the Jays are really close and the Jays are really in on Ohtani, like you were saying. And they were debating on yesterday's show on our leading sports radio network. And they were saying, so we're going to get Ohtani. How is this going to affect our ability? Because he's going to take up the DH spot most of the time. So now we can't rotate our guys in and out of the DH to give them a break from the field. Is this good for us or not? First of all, you get Ohtani. You are going to burn away your DH spot. I think you're very happy with that. The man's numbers are insanity. You have your number 1, number 2 starter. You have your cleanup hitter. Otherwise, it's a no-brainer. Every team in baseball should be in on Ohtani. No question. The question from the Angels' point of view, they're up for sale. You got Mike Trout still. How do you explain to Trout trading Ohtani unless you're trying to say you're still all in? Like Trout, if Ohtani gets traded, I don't care what you get for Ohtani. I can't imagine he's very happy with the team at that point. I don't know if the future owner wants Ohtani or not. So I think there's a lot of politics that go into that. But regardless, whether you're trading him or not, I can't see him signing an extension. He's 1 year away. He had this biblical season of Babe Ruthian proportions. If I'm him, I'm going to do exactly what Judge did. I'm going to play on my 1 year, $35 million, whatever he got. Go to free agency, and they're all going to line up. And I know who's going to sign him in free agency. I can smell this a mile away. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco Giants, 1,000%. That's where he's headed. He wants to stay on the West Coast. He loves on the West Coast. They're going to do exactly what they did with Barry Bonds back in the day. They're going to open up the bank. They're going to get the biggest free agent possible because they need a big shakeup. And I think he's their guy. And no matter what you give up for him, I can't see him signing with you unless you give him $700 million at this point.
Are we still talking about Ohtani or are we talking about Aaron Judge?
No, we're still talking Ohtani.
Okay, because I think you hit on. I think Judge is probably the most likely guy for the San Francisco Giants. I think Judge wants to play there, and I think there's a real good chance he goes there. What if you got both?
Listen, what if I got a third leg? It's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. Judge. We're gonna go Judge route between Ohtani and Judge because we're gonna talk about Judge as well. Judge is staying in New York. There's no reason to leave New York. You're the biggest thing on the biggest team on the biggest platform. I cannot see him leaving the Yankees. I don't think they're gonna let him leave. Can't see it. I just can't see it. But I've been wrong before.
I don't think that Judge has a particularly good reason to leave New York, but I do know he's a California kid, right? He has expressed interest in the Giants, and I think he would fit there just as well as he fits in Yankee Stadium. Now, I don't know who the hell walks away from being Aaron Judge in the New York Yankees. I mean, that's pretty tough. And I mean, even if they can't pay you, if it's a little bit less than everybody else offers you, I don't know how you leave what is pretty clearly almost a perfect situation. But if the difference is, let's say the contract is 10 years and the difference is $50 million and the Giants just overpay, does Mike Judge, not the creator of Beavis and Butthead, Aaron Judge, does Aaron Judge say, no, I'm going to eat the $50 million and stay with the Yankees? I don't know that the Yankees, I would hope that the Yankees would at least be somewhat smart enough to not just write a blank check. That's how teams get in trouble, right? I know Aaron Judge is extremely important to your organization, but there's also a limit, right? And if that limit is, what do you think the contract is? Is it $35 million a year for a long term? Is it easily, right? Maybe more than that, right?
Easy. There's talk of him getting $50 million a year. Like this is literally insanity at this point.
So let's say that the contract is from the Yankees. Let's say it's $425 million for 10 years, $42.5 a year. And let's say that the Giants come in and they say $475. If you're Judge, is the $50 million difference enough to stay with the Yankees? Do you say, okay, I'll eat it? Or do you go? Somebody's going to throw that number out there.
Yeah, but if you look at how much he's getting after taxes, number one,
right?
Then number two, you consider the endorsement potential of the Yankees versus the Giants. He's staying in New York if it's going to be purely about money. Getting back to Ohtani, as far as what it would take to get him in a trade, I don't see the Jays at no chance they're giving up Manoah. He ain't going nowhere fast. It's going to be one of their catchers, either Kirk or Moreno, and a bunch of pieces. And I just don't think it's sexy enough. And I think any team that really wants him that badly, the Angels are going to want your whole farm system. You literally have to sign over your whole AAA team and all your top prospects currently on the major league roster. It's not happening. It takes two. I don't even know what. I can't even fathom how many players. It's got to take like 10 players to get this guy off your team. And if you try to make a condition where you're going to have room to negotiate an extension, I don't think he's signing an extension with anybody. I don't see his reasoning for it. I think he wants free agency. He's going to take free agency. And imagine right now Ohtani on the open market. If I'm bidding it for him or Judge, I'm taking Ohtani in a second.
Yeah.
It's equal dollar for dollar.
So what do you think, though, if Ohtani makes it clear that he is not going to re-sign wherever he's going? I'm going to play out the 1-year deal, right? If he gets dealt, how does that affect the trade? Because suddenly you're not going to give up the entire farm system. If you know he's only a year rental, you can use him for the year, right? And then you have the inside track maybe to sign him if he really likes it.
Give them DeMar DeRozan, Jacob Poeltl, and take your chances for a 1-year championship. A la Kawhi Leonard. No, if I'm a team, as long as I don't have to give up my absolute core of what I think it is, but I have guys that are maybe a couple years away, and I can give the Angels like 5 amazing pieces, but I don't care about them for this year or next year. I'm doing it in a heartbeat. It's no different than fantasy baseball. I'm gutting my team if I get a chance for the championship. If you have Shohei Ohtani on your team, if you're the Blue Jays, if you're the Mariners, any team essentially that was any kind of contention, think about the Yankees. Think about Ohtani 1 year on the Yankees. Oh my Lord, the Babe Ruth comparisons. You have to do it. You absolutely have to do it. And if I was a GM, I'd be talking to the Angels every single day, trying to pick their pocket, going every possible angle. It is doable. The question is, do the Angels even want to move him at this point? And again, for political reasons, is it easier to sell the team with him still on the roster? How's Mike Trout going to reach this? Like, Otani's off that team. This team is in the gutter now. Like, they are just pure garbage. They're already garbage, but they're going to be even more in the dumpster. So I think for them, they actually have to keep him, sadly enough. Maybe trade him at the deadline then at that point.
I kind of can't imagine that the Angels aren't talking with Mike Trout about the possibility of moving him too.
Wow.
Because if you're going to blow it up, right? And if Mike Trout, look, do you think Trout wants to stay there for the rest of his career and suck? Like, I mean, it's just going to be bad, right? It's going to take 4, 5, 6 years to really probably get anything together, unless you can sell the team quickly, and then suddenly the new ownership comes in and says, whoever it is, blank check, we're signing everybody, right? And the chances that happen are not very good. The question about whoever the new owner is a good one, because does it look better if you're trying to sell the team to say, well, we have these big draws in Trout and Ohtani, or is it more attractive to a new owner to say, look how clear the books are? You're starting from scratch and you're getting this team, but you're not spending a lot of money on payroll right now. You can make money hand over fist for a little while you start to build the team back up. I think from a purchasing standpoint, I think you would probably rather have the clear books. And plus, I hate to say it, but Trout is probably not going to get better than he has been. It makes sense for the Angels to get what they can and move that off the books and start fresh.
If Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani are off the Angels, then I think baseball has to seriously consider what NBA has been talking about. And that's, if you're tanking, you're going to have relegation and you're going to go down to AAA. So then I think the Angels should become a AAA team and go down with the Pirates and bring up the best AAA teams. This is they're going to be in the gutter forever without Trout and Ohtani. There's something about the marketability. Everybody loves Mike Trout. I cannot imagine Mike Trout anywhere but an Angels uniform. He's got whatever hundreds of millions of reasons to stay there. I don't know. I for some reason with Trout and his personality, I think he's gonna be upset that he's not contending, but he's not rocking the boat. He's like, I'm the kingpin here. I like the weather a lot. I like my fans. I'm a one team guy for the rest of my life. They drafted me. They took care of me. I don't know. Ohtani, I'm seeing visions of him in a Giants uniform. I can't see Trout anywhere else. Like, imagine Trout going to Philadelphia and playing with Harper. Oh man, that would be nuts.
Yeah, I don't think Trout wants to go anywhere. I think he may just look at the situation and say, you know what, I'm going to burn the last 4 or 5 years of my career here, and we might win 60 games a year for the next 3 or 4 years. If they can get me somewhere like Philadelphia, or they can get me somewhere like, oh my God, the Dodgers, or something like that, maybe he makes that decision and says, I don't think there's any interest from his standpoint wanting to leave just to go somewhere else. I think he may just look at the decision. And also, I do think that Mike Trout is a character guy. He may look at it and think it's the best thing for the Angels too. And he may be looking at it long term. What if they offer him a piece of the ownership? You leave, let us get back whatever we're going to get back, clear the books, and we'll let you buy into the team when you retire.
Well, Albert Pujols is going to be back soon because he signed that marketing deal, and he's going to honor it apparently. So good old Albert's going to be coming on back.